Welcome back, and as you can see, we're heading into a tournament here to try and earn ourselves some chilling rain packs. Now, of course, we do have to be using one of the most popular and powerful theme decks there is to try and get through this and ensure that we win this tournament. So, if you are interested in seeing more style content like this rather than just the breakdowns of the theme decks, you want to see more tournaments, be sure to let me know in the comments, and as always, if you haven't already, then go ahead and subscribe, as I do post videos multiple times a week. Now we are going to be up against a very favourable matchup against the Rillaboom deck. They take quite a bit to set up, as they typically need a couple of evolutions here. We also need those evolutions, but we are going to be hitting for weakness, and we are overall just a little bit more consistent with our setup that we have going on here. So hopefully we can get that stuff going. We don't have a great opening hand since we do just have those two supporters. Would have loved to seen some more basic Pokemon, but hopefully we can draw into those off of the Cynthia on the following turn. And we do at least have the Charmander here, so we can get into a Charmeleon as well, hopefully. My opponent's starting off pretty strong though, because they have the Gossifleur as well as the Eldegoss there. We've seen them taking off with the Great Ball. That's going to be their main way of accelerating energy. That's really going to get them set up very nicely, especially to power up the Snorlax here, which is going to cover their weakness, since it's not going to be weak to fire, and they can start swinging with the Snorlax. Interestingly though, they did attach onto the bench, so I guess they just didn't want to lose that energy. And we do top deck the Charizard, which isn't ideal since we do need the Charmeleon first. So we'll just have to be using our Cynthia here. We'll shuffle our hand into the deck, and we get a bunch of Stage 2 Pokemon, which is definitely not ideal. Especially since we don't have any other basic Pokemon, so my opponent could really just knock us out here, which is not going to end well since we only have one basic in play. And of course, if we are knocked out, then my opponent's just going to win the game right here. The Charmander does have 70 HP, so we might be able to survive depending on the attack on this Eldegoss. It can attack for 30 for 1 energy, so not quite enough to get a knockout there, thankfully. And they are just going to be looking to power up those Snorlax, I'd have to guess. That is going to give us another turn at the very least to get a use out of this Pokemon fan club, and we could start getting our Pokemon that we need, like our basics, obviously, since it does search out 2 basic Pokemon. And I'm just trying to think what Pokemon it is that we'd actually want here. My opponent's going to be powering up the Snorlax. I think we're going to be wanting to try and draw some cards. We top deck a second Charmander, which is very good. And let's see what we have in the deck here. So we are going to be getting a Farfetch'd for sure, since I want to be drawing cards as much as possible. And then I think potentially a Ponyta as well could be good, or getting into the Nidoqueen fairly quickly could be nice as well. So let's grab these two, see what we can draw into, and we'll put down the Farfetch'd. Unfortunately, losing these energy attachments, which isn't the best, but the Charizard does power itself up, so we can deal with it. And we're just going to draw a couple of extra cards here. We do get into a Charmeleon, which is nice. So we are just looking for the evolutions to get into Nidoqueen, and hopefully a supporter card off the top deck. That would be very nice indeed. We need to deal with these Snorlaxes as quickly as possible, or this is going to very quickly flip on its head and my opponent's going to end up beating us with a grass deck, which would be very embarrassing for Charizard indeed. My opponent is powering up the second Snorlax there, as we can see. We do get another Farfetch, which is perfect, as I really want to get as much draw here as possible. We don't really mind if we lose a couple of prize cards, because overall we will have the better board state. So we'll just go ahead and draw 2 once again with the Collect. Not drawing anything too good. We do get the Ponyta, which is nice, but we really need a attacker here. Honestly, just a supporter or a way to get into the Nidoqueen would be great, but we don't have that. My opponent is going to be attacking with the Snorlax, taking the first prize card, and of course I'm going to be promoting our second Farfetch'd here. Let's see what we get off the top. There's another energy. That's not good at all. And we'll just draw 2 more cards, I suppose. Let's see what we get. A supporter, which is nice, and another Farfetch that we can go into, which I guess we'll make use of. We can promote the Ponyta and sacrifice that, hoping that we get into something like a Charizard here. And yeah, I guess we'll just promote the Ponyta. We have a couple more in the deck that we can draw into. And speaking of which, we do have the Rapidash, which we could potentially use. It's not going to be super relevant though, since we're only dealing 20, so I think I'll just hold off on that for now. And we can attach. I mean, we would be doing 40 with the Kukui, I suppose, but 40 into the burn is not going to be super relevant on a Snorlax, so we'll hold off on it for now. And we'll just attach on energy to the Farfetch'd. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Kinemata Kukui, we're not going to get the extra damage, but it does mean that we get to draw cards, so let's go for it and see what we get into. We do get a switch, so we can actually protect our Rapidash here. Don't have the energy just yet, since we do have to waste these attachments on Farfetch'd, but at least means that we can draw 2 more cards, and that's a total of 4 cards drawn that turn, which is pretty nice. But my opponent is going to be taking another prize card here, and we're really struggling since we don't have any attackers that we can make use of. My opponent's just going to steamroll through us as they have this Snorlax set up. We could promote the Charmeleon, hope that we get into what we need, I guess. Let's see, we do have a 2 retreat cost, which is not great, and the attack is obviously not good either. I guess we'll promote the Charmander. Oh man, this really stinks. Let's just promote this, I guess. We'll see what we draw into off the top. Another switch, okay. That could be useful if we draw the Charizard right here, but of course we're not going to draw that. Let's just go for the Nest Ball. We can search out another Pokemon. We can switch into the Charmander, I think, and that will at least get us the Nidoqueen into play. And from here, we're just going to be looking to get whatever Pokemon it is that we need. Let's start attaching onto the Rapidash, as that's probably going to be pretty useful. Although this Nidoqueen does have a good attack that we can make use of, so I'll start attaching there. We do have the Nidoqueen for the following turn. That means that we can get the Charizard out of the deck at long last. And then my opponent is going to be attacking us with the Snorlax, of course, so let's promote the Charmeleon here. And let's see what we get. Just another fire energy. Really wish that we had another supporter there. It's not ideal. We do get the Charizard though. Unfortunately, no more Charmander in the deck, so we will have to use Brock's Grit at some point. And we have to deal how much damage? 150. That is a lot of damage that we need here. We are only dealing 130. So my opponent is going to get a return knockout if we use Roaring Resolve, but we are forced into using it since we do need to get a knockout here. So we'll go with that. We can keep attaching onto the Nidoqueen, and let's go for a Brock's Grit now, I think, or I suppose we could hold off until the following turn when they knock out the Charizard, then we can get the Charizard back as well. So we'll go with that. We'll just take the knockout here, dealing 180, finally taking a prize card. But my opponent only has 2 remaining, so I mean we did take that early prize card, to be fair, so we've taken 2, but yeah, my opponent is so far ahead, it's going to be difficult to keep up here, especially with that Rillaboom building up in the back as well, since it can deal so much damage. It does have that second attack for 180, definitely enough to one-hit our Nidoqueen or Charizard. They also have the Ordinary Rod, shuffling in some Pokemon and energy, definitely makes sense to me. And they can, like I said, deal enough damage to get a knockout, since we did have to damage ourselves there. So we will be promoting our Nidoqueen. It's not going to be dealing a huge amount of damage, but it's something I suppose. And yeah, we'll use the Queen's Call to get our stage 1 out, and that at least gives us a little bit additional damage, but it's not going to be nearly enough to get a knockout, unfortunately. We'll also use the Brock's Grit here. We'll shuffle in the Charmanders, Charizards, and a couple of energy, why not? I suppose we don't really need the Charizard. Do we even need the Charmeleon? I'm pretty sure there's still a bunch in deck, so we could probably hold off on that as well and just get back the energy. Let's go with that. And then we can hit my opponent for not enough. Yeah, there we go, 110, 40 damage short, and now my opponent can hit into us, and we're not going to be able to have a response, or they could even retreat into the Rillaboom and get a knockout that way. So yeah, even though we did have the type advantage against the Rillaboom deck, it's just not to be because we drew really poorly this time around, which is very unfortunate, but these things happen, and just seems to be my luck in tournaments. I always get these horrible hands where I draw really badly, even though every other time against people in the ladder I always draw great and always win fairly frequently. So hopefully you guys get some better luck in tournaments, especially in the special tournaments like these ones where it's the new set and you can get the packs that have came out of the new set. So right now it's Chilling Reign. That's why I wanted to try and show off this format and the tournament structure, all that good stuff. So hopefully we do better next time. As I said at the start, let me know if this is a style that you want to see a bit more of, because I have dabbled in it before and it's certainly quite interesting and fun to try and get some tournament wins, whether it's the special tournaments or not. Even just getting a bunch of random packs can be fun, and we'll open them up at the end, but unfortunately it doesn't look like that's going to happen. My opponent's really having a hard time thinking here, but I don't really know what they need to think about when all they have to do is attach an energy. I guess they've timed out my opponent. Yeah, they just had a bit of a brain fart there, and maybe they left their computer or something. Sure. Well, we can attach to a Rapidash, I guess, and start getting some Pokemon out of the deck. We'll just play this out. Sure. I'm very confused here why my opponent just timed out and instead of actually playing the game. But oh man, what? I did not mean to do that. I completely misclicked there. Tried to use the ability and instead we got the knockout. Definitely meant to use the ability, get another Pokemon, use the Kukui, you gotta play out your hand. But instead we're taking a knockout, and it looks like my opponent has left the game, or not left the game, but left their computer at least, as they're not responding now. And we might actually get the win here from my opponent timing out, which would be incredible. And my initial disappointment, my big talk about being the loser of this match in the tournament so early on, it's actually backfiring already because my opponents decided to leave the game. Maybe they heard us. Maybe they felt bad about destroying the deck that they should have lost to. Who knows? They promote the Rillaboom, so maybe they are there. Maybe they have the energy and they're about to get the win and they're just stalling. Wanted to give us an extra prize card to be nice. Who knows? Well, he did at least take 3 prize cards. Should have been all of them, and definitely should have won already, but my opponent's still not doing anything, so perhaps they have timed out. We'll have to see what happens here. And there we go, we need to get the victory somehow. I guess my opponent just left their computer and, I don't know, got distracted, who knows, but we are into the next stage of the tournament, so I'll see you in that match. After the miraculous win of the first game, I still can't believe that we actually managed to win because my opponent left, but there we go, we'll take those after thinking that we were going to lose. Oh well, it's all good, we're here now, we push on, and we're against the Soaring Storm Dragonite deck. Of course, the 2 titans of the theme deck format, so we got to see if we can win this. Yes, I know I have a good deck, you have a good deck as well, sir. Let's see what we can nest ball out. We do have a Charmeleon in our hand, so I kind of want to get the Charmander out pretty quickly here. I think that will be a good attacking threat. And we can attach onto the Ponyta as well, hoping to get a Rapidash fairly quickly and early on, as that would be a great help in terms of really hammering in on my opponent, dealing with that 60 damage and flipping some heads on agility here. My opponent does have the turn 1 Lily, which is going to give them the most draw that they can possibly get. And we do have a Cynthia here, which I kind of prefer over the how. I think we will attach to the active, and yeah, let's see if we can refresh our hand rather than just drawing 3. Unfortunately, no Rapidash, but we do get the Charizard for the following turn, which is very nice. Let's see if we can get ahead here. Unfortunately not, so we're just going to be dealing 10 damage. But since we do have the Charizard, as long as my opponent doesn't bench any other Pokemon, we have a very straightforward win here. They go for the Bug Catcher, get the Tails, only drawing 2 cards. Will that be any help? It is. They do have the Pokemon Communication, putting in a Stage 1 Pokemon and getting out a Pidgey instead. Interesting, they don't get a Dratini, considering that they put in the Dragonair as well, so not really sure what their thought process is there, and we'll have to see what we can get. We have the copycat that we could use, kind of like Pokemon Fan Club though, just to establish our board a little more, and let's go for this. We'll get the Psychic to go towards the Nidoqueen. It's what's it called? You know, Nidoran, Nidorino, all those. And let's get another Charmander. I think that seems reasonable. So we'll take those. We will use our Charizard to get a knockout here, rather than wasting our Ponyta in the active spot. Definitely just retreat, and Roaring Resolve gets us our 2 energy. And then we can also manually attach, putting 1 back onto the Ponyta so that we have it ready for a Rapidash, and my opponent gives us a little shocked face as if we weren't going to be attacking with Charizard. Of course we want the knockout so that they're on the back foot here. We get into another Charmeleon as well, which is perfect, so we can start setting up a second Charizard. They do have the Pidgeotto, which is good for drawing, but along with the Cynthia here, they are really looking for some basic Pokemon. Definitely the Dragonite line is going to be crucial for them to actually get going and start accelerating energy on their end. And I guess they just had a dead hand. They're going to concede, which I'm perfectly fine with because this is a tournament and we are going to be winning packs at the end of this next round. So let's go into it and see what happens. Alrighty, the final round, it's the 2 Charizard decks, and personally I do believe that our Charizard deck is the better of the 2, as I've said many times over the past couple of months of Theme Deck Tuesday, so we'll have to see what happens this time around. My opponent does start with the Lugia, which is their preferred starter, as it is able to deal 30 damage for just 1 energy, able to take out our Farfetch'd over 3 turns. But that is quite a good number of turns for us to actually get a board established as well, so we shouldn't have a problem there. They do have a Sonia on their end, which is going to allow them to search out 2 basic Pokemon, getting down the double Charmander. Not sure we're going to be going for the same play, but we'll certainly get 1 Charmander to start us off. There is the first poke of 30 damage. Oh, that's very good, a very good pickup. Was definitely going to get that off of the Pokemon Fan Club, so perhaps we will get a double Charmander on our end as well. We could also go for the Rapidash at some point, but I kind of like getting the Charizards set up as quickly as possible, and I was just looking there for the Charmeleon that we do have in the deck, so that's very good. We'll be attaching onto a... Let's actually start attaching onto the Nidoqueen line, as that's going to be a very good attacker overall, and the Charizard can set itself up. So we'll draw 2 cards here. We do get a good amount of useful cards, and like I said, we're just working towards our Nidoqueen, and we could always attack with our Nidoran here. The Call for Family attack is pretty useful for searching out specific Pokemon, although it is a little slow overall. My opponent getting a attachment onto the active as well as the bead to attach onto their bench, which is good for them, but they are left with a 1 card hand, so it's going to be slow for my opponent over these coming turns. We can attach a second energy and also use our How. We do get the Charizard, which is nice. Unfortunately no Charmeleon this turn, but we'll continue to use Collect and draw some cards here. There's the Charmeleon as well, so we can definitely get our Nidoqueen and Charmeleon up on this turn. We might actually have to start attacking with Nidoqueen rather than Charizard, but I'm perfectly fine with that as long as we're doing enough damage. And here my opponent does have a Charizard on their end, which is going to allow them to start using that Battle Sense ability, looking at the top 3 cards of their deck and picking one, discarding the other 2. And here we see they completely empty out their hand as well. They don't have any Leon in the discard pile, so that Charizard is only capable of doing 100 damage at the moment, which is certainly something that I'm not too worried about with that 1 card hand. They do have Battle Sense though, so they could potentially get a return knockout on our Nidoqueen, but I think we have to go in with it anyways, since it is our only attacker at the moment, and we can certainly work towards getting a second one set up. So let's get all of these evolution Pokemon into play. That's going to be ideal, and obviously going to be using the ability here so that we can search out, man, we have the other stage 1 prize. That's unfortunate. We'll just have to search out a Charmeleon instead and work towards our double Charizard, and there's nothing else that we can do to play out our hand, so we'll just go for the attack. Unfortunately not quite enough to get the knockout, just a little bit of damage short there. My opponent can deal a reasonable amount of damage in return as well. Dealing 120 is nothing to scoff at, and it's going to give them an extra turn of getting their side set up. It's really unfortunate that we prized our Nidorino, as we really need that to actually get our other Nidoqueen set up. It's going to be a very good attacker in this matchup, as well as just the ability always being very useful to get your Pokemon set up. So let's see here, my opponent's retreating, so they do have the one-hit knockout, I'm guessing. Let's see here. Yeah, they have the Leon in their hand, they drew into it, so they're able to get a knockout on our Nidoqueen in one hit. That's really unfortunate. We do have the Charizard though, and my opponent has 170 hit points. So with the Roaring Resolve, we should be able to get a one-hit knockout here, and that is perfect. We top deck the second Charizard, so we're really off now, and we should be in a perfect position to close this game. Let's Roaring Resolve, get 2 energy onto the Charizard. We do have to damage ourselves, but that's totally fine. We'll also Roaring Resolve on the bench, just so that it's ready and threatening my opponent. And I kind of want to put the Nidoqueen back into the deck, as I want the evolution line there along with the energy as well, to be fair. So since we have the Brock's Grit in our hand, we'll go ahead and use it now. And we want these 2 and the energy, all the energy please, that would be great. And then when the Charizards get knocked out, we can just use our Brock's Grit there and do it that way. So definitely need to attach manually from hand so that we get the 180 damage, discard all of those and get the one-hit knockout. Taking our first prize card, Timer Ball, that is perfect. Get our evolutions out, mostly the Nidoqueen. Hopefully though we do get the double heads for that, which is required. My opponent promoting the Yanmega, so perhaps dealing a little bit of damage. Yep, they are attaching to it, so they're looking to do that 50 damage and then switch to the bench. But neither of these bench options are going to be good for them. Do they sacrifice a Charmander, or do they give us a easy knockout on the Lugia? We'll have to see here. Neither of them are good options anyways. They are taking their time. It is a difficult decision. I think I would have to go for the Lugia personally, but they give us the Charmander, so they're giving up hope on getting that next Charizard out. Let's go for a Timer Ball. We get double tails. Really? That's really unfortunate. Would have loved to get a bit of use out of the Timer Ball there, but we'll just Roaring Resolve. Yes, we're going to be damaging ourselves, but that's totally fine. I think we'll hold the Fire Energy in our hand in case we need to take a big knockout, and we'll just go for the attack. Take our next prize card and get that Charmander out of here. Let's see what we get. Hopefully a Draw Supporter. It's not to be, but it is still the Nidorino, so that's certainly something that's going to be useful. My opponent is going to need another turn if they want to get the second attack off, since it does require 4 energy. But we do have quite a bit of damage on it already, but we will be surviving with 10 HP remaining, and my opponent just decides to attack with the Yanmega. So we're in a very good spot here. definitely in the lead, as my opponent's not going to be getting a knockout, and then we can knock out whatever it is that they promote. Although we can't Roaring Resolve, that is the only issue here. If we do Roaring Resolve, we're going to knock ourselves out, and we are looking for a knockout here though, that is the only thing. That kind of sucks, especially since my opponent has the Yan Mega about to hit us for 130 damage. So it's a tough spot for sure. Let's see here, we have this, but it's not got any damaging attacks, which kind of sucks. Can shuffle in Psychic Pokemon, it's not going to be any use to us. Can we attack with this? No, it has a 2 attack cost. So I think we do have to actually knock ourselves out here and then attack with the Charizard while we start attaching energy onto the Nidorino, I guess. Don't really see any other options here. So we'll just have to go for that. Roaring Resolve, knock ourselves out, give my opponent a prize card. I don't want to attach energy, that would be kind of silly. So they're going to do that, take their prize. We get to promote a Charizard. And we could use Brock's Great here, but I think we'll hold off so that we can improve our draws. So we'll just go for the attack on the Lugia. My opponent will be able to get a knockout on the Charizard. Like I said, that Yan Mega is going to be hitting us for 130 damage. And we're going to be in a tough spot now, since we can't actually get any good attacks off. Even if we top deck the Nidoqueen, that won't be able to attack since it does need 3 energy on it, and all we can do from there is search out Pokemon. But yeah, my opponent missed the energy. Yeah, I was really shocked there. My opponent completely missed the energy, so we have another turn. But again, we don't have the draws. So I guess we'll just Roaring Resolve, attack my opponent, keep going the same route that we've been going, and continue to attach onto our bench. So let's go and search out those 2 energies. Definitely attach here, as we need to deal 130, I believe. Yep, that's the base damage that we are dealing with the Charizard here, so let's go with that. And yeah, we'll just attack, discard our energies, go into 2 prize cards remaining, see if my opponent gets an energy on this following turn. I can't believe that they didn't have an energy in hand, especially in this Steam Deck format. It's crazy. No way to search it as well or draw cards. But we see a Dan. Let's see if we can win. Oh man, that sucks. My opponent gets 4 cards. Do they get the energy off of those 4 cards? Plus the turn draw as well, so 5 cards to see an energy. There's an ordinary rod. And I'm guessing they drew into it and they didn't have that in hand already, or else they should have played it. Shuffling in the Charizard and Charmander. And then the 2 energy, of course. Totally makes sense. They're going to leave us in suspense here to see if they have the energy. Or I suppose they could just attack us and we'll be in the same situation as before, where we're unable to use Roaring Resolve. And what that situation, I think we would just pass to my opponent, as we really don't have anything else that we can do. They do go for the second Ordinary Rod though to shuffle in even more energy, getting the Evolution Incense, not Energy Incense, Evolution Incense to get the Charizard out, although they do need the Charmeleon, so I'm guessing that's in the hands and they didn't search for it. And my opponent again missed the energy, so they're just hitting us for 50, but we're not able to use Roaring Resolve or else we will knock ourselves out once again. So we do get the Timer Ball. Can we get aheads this time? Doubles Tails again to screw us over. Unable to get out a Nidoqueen. I guess we'll just attach onto our other bench Pokemon and pass it over to my opponent. We can't actually do anything here. Maybe if I had attached the active, we could attach again the following turn, but all my opponent has to do here is attach onto their Charmander and then retreat, and then they can easily get a knockout with their Yanmega. But instead it looks like they're evolving into Charmeleon and then attaching, as they can deal 20 damage there, which is enough to get a knockout, and definitely all they need, as we're really struggling to get our Pokemon out here. That's the main falter of picking up a Nidoqueen so early. the fact that you have to start attacking with it when we don't have any other attackers, as we will lose my consistency as we're not able to search out Pokemon. Really unfortunate, but that's just the way that it goes, or else we would have to sacrifice Pokemon early like we did in the first game. My opponent promoting the Sudowoodo here. I guess we'll just promote our Nidoran. Let's see what the top deck, a Ponyta. Very interesting. We do have the Call for Family that we can use, which I guess we'll make use of it to get a basic Pokemon and try and stall a little bit, attach onto our Ponyta. And yeah, we'll just Call for Family. I guess we'll get a Charmander. We don't have the evolutions though, that's unfortunate. I guess we'll get another Ponyta then. And yeah, we get to put that into play straight away. We do have the Rapidash as well, so on this following turn, depends what we draw into, but I'm looking to go in with the Rapidash here, start using that agility, and hopefully flip some heads to make up for all of those tails on Timer Ball. My opponent does get the Charizard though, so they're going to be looking to attach onto there, deal some big damage with it. They also have the 4th energy finally on the Yanmega, so that's going to allow them to deal 130 damage, completely obliterate anything that we promote, unless it has a higher HP, like one of our stage 2 Pokemon, but we haven't been able to find those, so I doubt it's going to go well here. At least this has been a close game, unlike the first two that we played, which were very one-sided in both cases. This has been a very close game for sure. A lot of back and forth. There's the Nidoqueen finally, but I think it's going to be a little bit too late at this point, considering my opponent only has one prize card left to take. We can make use of it though. We might as well, and we'll get some Pokemon out. Sure. Let's see if we get heads on agility. We are hitting up for a weakness. And there's the heads, so my opponent's not going to be able to deal any damage to us at the very least. That gives us another turn to get a bit more damage in. And yeah, I really don't think any of our Pokemon in her deck is going to be any use, that's why I just searched out a random Pokemon really. My opponent is getting a bunch of extra energy into play on their bench, also switching into the Sudowoodo, potentially just drawing. Yep, they are indeed. Makes sense, makes sense. And we get a switch here. Not great. I would love an energy so that we can attack with the Nidoqueen. I guess we'll get a Ponyta. We don't really need another Rapidash or Ponyta, anything really, but we'll put it into play. No reason not to. And there's nothing else that we can do, so we'll just keep attacking, hoping that we get heads on agility for infinity, basically. Just continually attack and get heads until we win the game. That is the game plan now. Or if we top deck energy, then we can obviously attack with the Nidoqueen as well as an option. They do get another Sudowoodo that they can retreat into so that they don't get knocked out. So they're going to be stalling as much as possible until we get a Tails, but as soon as we do get a Tails, they are going to be able to get a knockout. We get the Fire Energy, so my opponent does have the Charizard set up. Let's have a look at their discard pile, see how many Leon they have. They have 1 in the discard pile, which means they're going to be able to deal 150. If it was me, I would be holding the second Leon in my hand, so I'm guessing that's what they're doing as well in case we promote the Nidoqueen. And additionally, we don't actually have enough damage with the Nidoqueen to get a knockout here, so I guess we'll just get another Rapidash out. We could obviously go for a Brock's Grit and start searching out Charizard as well. That could be something that's useful to get a big knockout, so let's go with that. We'll Brock's Grit, and we want a Charizard line, and we'll shuffle in a couple of energy, I guess. We'll put one of these in and some energy, why not? We'll go with that, and we'll attach an energy onto the Nidoqueen, and let's go for another agility. Interesting that my opponent didn't draw cards with the Sudowoodo, but there's the Tails, so it's going to be game for my opponent, unfortunately. Yeah, they're giving us the face, but they have the victory here. and they're promoting the Charizard. Did they have it in hand? They had it in hand as well. So even if we started using our Nidoqueen to attack, they would have had the Leon there, and they are going to get the victory. Unfortunately, that's a real shame. We are going to come second in the tournament, but we should think ourselves lucky anyway, especially after that Rillaboom match, which was just crazy, where my opponent just left the game, walked away, and stopped playing, because they would have won that game 100%. But as you can see, we did come second, and that still gives us some rewards. 2 packs of the newest set, Chilling Reign, and we also get a couple of coins to help us out get some more packs. So that was good fun, especially after that first match. Didn't expect anything else. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video as well. Be sure to give it a like if you did, and I'll see you in the next one.